What's going on, everybody? Big D coming back at you with another interview tonight. Excited about this one. Bit different type show tonight, and we should have quite a bit of fun going down it. But before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, please. Hey, the more likes you give the stream out there, gets out to more people, so helps out analytically, so more people can get involved in the fun and shenanigans that we are running over here. Also, make sure you click the link tree down in my in the description if you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook, or the pinned in the chat there on YouTube there, and go support my advertisers, sponsors, and preferred retail partners. They help continue to keep all the programming going on the show, and your support goes a long way in making sure that happens. Take advantage of the exclusive promo codes that are only available to my viewers out there to save you some coinage, because I'm a man of the people. I'm here for you. Whether you're looking for sticks, whether you're looking for accessories, I have you covered. So go check it out. Go click on that. Go support. They do a lot of good work for us out there, and I know you want to get stuff on the cheap, and I got you covered. Also, Dallas Smokefest is right around the corner in November, and I am again part of Dallas Smokefest. So in the description, I do have a direct link that'll take you over to the Dallas Smokefest page. Go get your tickets. It was so much fun. Don't have FOMO this year. They put on such a great event out there. There's so much to do. And it really caters to everybody out there, whether you're looking for events or parties to go to, you're looking for lectures, you're looking for something, they got you all taken care of at Dallas Smokefest every which way. You can use that promo code 505REVIEW when you check out with your tickets there. That'll should do a little something there for you. I had a lot of fun last year in Dallas, and you'll probably have a lot of fun too if you show up. So let's let me see you down there in Dallas in November. I'm looking forward to it. All right, I already see that we're getting going. Man, Chris, welcome, brother. Good to see you out there. My guest tonight, he owns a craft soda company. He's the creator of. I'm also assuming the blending on it, but we will talk more about him. I met him at PCA. I really enjoyed drinking the sodas, and for somebody like me who's not a big drinker out there, I really liked having the different options out there. So we're gonna talk with them here, and of course, I've got Charlie Albanetti of Abbina soda, craft sipping soda out there. We're going to get into this a little bit. He's going to pick out some blend soda, tell us about it, and I'm going to try and pair one up with what I'm smoking tonight. But let me bring Charlie on so he can tell you about him and the brand. Charlie, welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Glad to have you on, man.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Good to see you here. Glad you're there. I'm going to hand it over to you for a moment while you introduce yourself and talk about the brand.
Sure. So Charlie Albanetti, owner and founder of Abbina Craft Sipping Soda. I have been calling it the world's first and only non-alcoholic beverage formulated specifically to be paired with premium cigars. So the vision here is that you have a really complex beverage, technically a soda, I guess, because it's sweet and it's carbonated and you drink it cold. So that fits the general description, but it's really unlike any soda that you've ever had before. And what I was really trying to do is pull together a combination of flavors in each of the 4 flavors that I have that you're not going to find in any other beverage product, and pick flavor profiles that are uniquely suited to the kind of flavors that you're going to find in tobacco smoke. So I'm sure we'll go through all the flavors and all the process and that sort of thing. But ultimately, generally, it's a beverage that's made to pair with cigars, and certainly I think it's a great option for those who don't want to drink or don't want to drink as much. And they also work pretty good if you spike them right on up. So you can do that too if you want.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so let's start off here with the sodas, and you can talk a little bit about them here.
Sure.
Well, before we get started, let me ask you a question. what was really the idea behind creating a non-alcoholic pairing drink or libation?
Yeah, I mean, my go-to beverage always was soda for pairing with cigars, right? Like, I don't drink soda normally, like in the course of my day-to-day life, but when I have a cigar, I really like a soda. I like that it's cold, soothing to my tongue and my throat, right? Like the carbonation is kind of soothing to my tongue and my throat, and the sweetness, I think helps to. I think it actually helps to cleanse my palate more than just water does. I mean, the water kind of makes it fiery. It's harder to kind of reset, and I think like just a little bit of sweetness helps me get my taste buds back in action. You know, so I started smoking cigars when I was very very young, and I would drive around in my car and go through a drive-through and get a soda. So and that was before I was of drinking age, if you will. So I didn't really ever start with I think the standard pairing of different types of whiskeys. Um, and so, yeah, soda was just what I always did. So, one day I was sitting in my basement here, smoking a cigar, thinking about trying to get out of my job that I had been in for quite a long time, and was kind of just waiting for the idea to come to me that I knew would allow me to leave that job and start my own kind of a project. And that wasn't really the intention initially. My intention was actually just to stand up and make something for myself that I could drink with my cigars. Just 'cause, I'm a foodie. I like to play around with different foods and flavors and that kind of stuff. And so I started working on it, and then once Candlewood was really the first of the four flavors that I got really close to making on my own. I thought I love the flavor of candy cherry, right? Like it's just like that, like a cherry Jolly Rancher or like a cherry Laffy Taffy. Like I love that fake candy cherry flavor, right? And so I started at that point trying to make a fake candy cherry flavor. I used a lot of almond extract from my baking cabinet, and I think the red color association of cherries led me to think about beets, right? Like beets as being an earthy kind of a dirt-like flavor, and so that would go well with cigars, and put them together and made something that I thought tasted pretty good, and went from there.
Do you have a scientific background, or was this a lot of just research and trial and error on your part?
Yeah, no. About let's see, 8 years ago, 2017, I think. Like I said, I was kind of a foodie, right? Like, and I always loved to cook. I love messing around with different foods and finding new foods. And about 8 years ago, I got really sick, and was not able to eat regular food for almost 6 months. And in the course of that process, I wasn't able to kind of do my foodie thing, which was my escape from my real job, right? And so, in an effort to kind of preoccupy myself from my pretty stressful, intense job, otherwise, I came into the hobby of perfumery. So I had this weird scent memory of my uncle who was dead, old uncle who was dead, and like I could just remember what he smelled like whenever he was in the room, and I thought I got to figure out what this guy was wearing, right? Like, and all the people, I asked my family, nobody knew what he would have worn at that time, so I just started buying up a lot of perfumes. And anyway, during COVID, I was able to take a perfumery course online, but I bought a whole mess of the raw materials that are used in perfumes, and some of the equipment and that kind of thing. So I got this basic kind of understanding of chemistry from that experience. And when I started looking into how to make soda professionally, I learned that the raw materials for fragrances are actually the same raw materials that are used in the flavor industry. The fragrance industry is the flavor industry. They're one and the same. And so half of at least those raw materials that I had upstairs for the fragrance hobby are actually food safe, and I was able to bring them down, look up what the acceptable levels of each of those ingredients are in a food product, and started mixing those things. And eventually, when I realized that I was going to commercialize this idea, I hired a professional flavorist, which is, a flavor chemist, basically, to take what my concepts and turn them into something that was safe and scalable, to make in a 500-gallon batch versus a 2-liter batch.
Sure. Yeah, I know. I do work for in the soda industry.
Oh, do you?
I do. I work for Coca-Cola.
Oh, wow. You may have said that when we met in New Orleans.
Yeah, I do. I am a service technician, so I have kind of developed my palate on the calibration on soda and where everything is supposed to be at. I when I train in new techs, I always blow their mind because I can look at the soda that poured into a glass and smell it and know exactly if it's right, too much syrup, too little syrup,
right,
too much water, if the pressure's off and the carbonation's not right. I can look at it. I've been doing it for 17 years, so I've kind of developed that ability where it is. And I gotta say, for the most part, I despise the taste of soda. I do.
Yeah.
I just it's the corn syrup. I don't mind like the cane sugar sodas. Like
right.
They're way better. It's that corn syrup.
Yeah. I mean, most of the, not to knock, not like any of these companies are actually my competitor, right? They're about a million times bigger than I am, but so many of the mainstream sodas flavors are relying on just so much sweetness, just a punch in your face level of sweetness, and the flavor is really pretty minimal. And I think one of the things that you'll notice about my product, as among many other things that is different than a mainstream soda, is that the flavor is really dosed pretty heavily, and I think that's partially because I want some of that flavor to linger on your palate a bit and give you an opportunity for the pairing process, whether that's pairing with the smoke, pairing with another drink, or pairing with food. Something's got to still be there after you swallow it, more than just sweetness.
Yeah, for sure. It's out there. Okay, so let's start off with the soda. So which one do you want to introduce out first?
So I generally go in a particular order, and if you had one of these sheets, I probably showed you in New Orleans, but if you order online the soda, you'll get one of these sheets in the mail with.
Sure.
Sorry, this camera is backwards for me. So on the back of the sheet, I give the list of the flavors and the order that I recommend tasting them in. There's a number of reasons for that order, but we can go in that order if that works for you.
Yeah, however you want to do it, man. So I guess we're going to start off with the Candlewood.
So yeah, Candlewood is generally the first one I try. Okay. So it's the red label. And so this flavor is, the concept is that kind of candy cherry, like I mentioned before, and then paired with an earthiness. And so we get that from the flavors of beets, which is kind of a boring, just a sweet dirt flavor, right? Mm-hmm. And another ingredient that's way more complex and fascinating called oak moss. Oak moss is a really beautiful, again, perfumery ingredient. Normally, it's not used in food products that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of any food product that has it. And it gives earthiness, but it gives a lot more complexity, kind of gives a warm, fuzzy feeling. And so this one is designed, it goes well with a sweet Maduro. It goes well with Honduran tobacco or Costa Rican tobacco, both of which to me have a bit of a zing to them, maybe almost a citrusy quality at times, or a green quality, vegetal. Anything that has an earthy note, you can use it to kind of desensitize your palate to that earthy note, which will allow for, you to be able to detect notes like vanilla in your cigar way more easily than you otherwise would be able to, because you're kind of desensitizing your palate to that.
Okay.
So with each one, I recommend smelling first and then tasting, and you're going to find that you get a really distinct smell. That's a smell that's very distinct from the way that it tastes when you essentially retrohale the soda, when you close your mouth and breathe out through your nose after you sipped it. So you get a little bit of earth on the nose, but when you swallow it and breathe out through your nose, you're gonna get a lot more of that earthiness from this one.
All right.
I'm just gonna grab some of mine.
Now, I'm going to let you people know I've got all 4 sodas here. I'm not going to open up all 4. I'm going to pick the one that I think is going to pair with my stick tonight.
There you go.
So that'll be the one that I open up. We'll see it. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I hit it on the head.
Yeah. So I mean, with all of them, you're going to find that distinct smell from the kind of retrohaling of it. You're going to find a lighter carbonation than most mainstream sodas. You're going to find sweetness, but the sweetness is way more complex. So you're talking about high fructose corn syrup, terrible stuff. Terrible from a flavor perspective, terrible from a health perspective, terrible from an environment. It's terrible from a governmental perspective. It's terrible in every level imaginable. So what I use about 75% organic agave and 25% organic cane sugar. And so the agave, way more complexity of flavor, a little easier on your body. It's what's called lower glycemic index, which means that it'll raise your blood sugar, but raise it at a slower rate than other sugars will. So your body can process it a little bit easier. And then when I say organic cane sugar, it's kind of just a term where the organic piece of that means that it's less refined. So generally when you're buying a cane sugar, it's going to be white, or maybe a little bit more brown. The organic cane sugar
been washed and it's been washed and boiled, and it's lost most of its the white sugar. It's granulated sugar is, I guess, the term that they use. It's lost most of its nutritious value.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much nutrients is there, but it is losing its flavor. Right?
Yeah, so it's out there. There's a sugar factory right across the street from my factory. Right. I smell it all day long.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the Candlewood.
That's Candlewood.
All right. What's the next one?
So number 2 is Tower 44. So
okay. That's the 44.
And so Tower 44 is kind of a bright, fresh grapefruit at the start. But the really interesting stuff happens with a dark Indonesian patchouli and saffron. And so the whole concept here, kind of out there, was that I wanted to find a way to introduce a leathery kind of flavor to one of these sodas. And from my perfumery knowledge and experience, saffron gives off a suede-like quality. So when you smell saffron, to me, it smells like a fine suede, if you're kind of opening up your mind to it. There are certain patchoulis that can also give a leathery impact, the darker patchoulis in particular. So we use a dark Indonesian patchouli to kind of give it way more complexity, way more spiciness. And then that bright, fresh grapefruit really makes it quite refreshing. And so both the saffron and the grapefruit are kind of on the lighter side, elegant, clean, and the patchouli is, it's dosed appropriately here, so it's not overwhelming. And if you're thinking like, oh, I hate patchouli, I hate the way that people smell with their patchouli in their head shop or with their incense, like you're not going to find that to be unpleasant in this. What you're going to find is that it slowly builds on your palate, and patchouli is just it's an ingredient that goes incredibly well with cigar smoke. It always has. A lot of the flavored cigars not my preference, but a lot of the flavored cigars have patchouli as a main flavoring ingredient because it just works. Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. And so, what stick do you usually recommend with the Tower 44?
Tower
Since
40.
it's got the leather, so we want to probably stay away from hot cigars that have some of that higher, more leathery off the palate on that. So,
Yeah,
what do
so
you
you can kind of think about it in two different ways, right? Like, so I think about pairing and my pairing process in two different ways. One is what I would call enhancement, which essentially means that you are taking an ingredient in one of the things that you're pairing and making it similar to an ingredient in the other thing that you're pairing, and you're essentially desensitizing your palate to that ingredient. So that's how what I mentioned, the oak moss and the earthiness and candlewood, right? In the same cases here with a leathery note, you can desensitize your palate to the leathery note by using the saffron and patchouli and be able to draw out other nuances in the cigar that you wouldn't otherwise be able to. But then there's this other pairing methodology that I call creation. And that's essentially when you take one flavor idea and then pair it with a second flavor idea, and you get a third entirely different thing, right? Like, this is when the magic happens. This is when the most exciting stuff happens, right? And so this is when you have the right wine and cheese and your mouth just explodes, right? Like, my favorite example of this is pork and fennel, right? Like, Italian sausage is just the best, but only because it has the fennel in it, right? Like, if you take the fennel out of Italian sausage, it's just ground pork at that point, right? Like, it's boring. So fennel and pork is a magical concept. And so with this one, Tower 44, let me just say it is definitely the most versatile of the four flavors. It will work with virtually any cigar, actually, but it's really designed for sort of medium Habano wrapper stuff that, like, medium body Dominican stuff. I don't think that. I mean, you could certainly do it with the lightest of Dominican cigars because you can kind of do anything with them, right? Like, there isn't much flavor in the cigar, so you're kind of just you're building up from there. But yeah, that kind of medium strength. Sorry, my computer just went into screensaver. Yeah, so that's my general recommendation. It's pretty broad.
Okay. All right. Well, that was where I was going to go, was Habano side on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we got next?
So your third one is Vinny. Vinny is the most intense and eccentric of the four, the boldest. So it replicates the flavors of jerk seasoning. So allspice, ginger, thyme, molasses, a bit of savory funkiness, kind of meaty quality, so a little bit of smokiness. And if you drink enough, you'll feel some heat on the back of your throat. And so that one is definitely designed for that creation pairing methodology, right? Like, so I think about certain cigars, the sort of savory Maduro, not the sweet Maduro, but the savory Maduro, the cigar that kind of has a, like, funky pork flavor goes perfectly with this, because you think about what goes well with jerk seasoning is grilled chicken, right? Like, jerk chicken is a beautiful, magical, creative concept, and it creates an entirely new flavor by combining these two things. So you get that kind of savory, salty, meaty flavors that they contrast incredibly well with these baking spices and the sweet molasses, and you get magic.
Yeah. So this would be for more of your fuller body stick. I would, it's really gonna. You really want to bring out more of the. You really want to bring out more of that. That, like you said, that meatiness out of that full bodied stick.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This one's gonna be in the running for what I got going on tonight.
I think so.
Okay. So that one.
And number 4 is Royale. So maybe the most obvious of ingredients to be pairing with cigars, but I think it's still a pretty unique flavor combination. You're not going to find another beverage that tastes like it. coffee, chocolate, vanilla, and a little bit of nuttiness. You also get some kind of caramel toffee qualities to it.
Goodness.
And it's I don't have to say very much about this one because it's delicious. It's the easy sell. That's why I do it last, because once somebody has it, it's just perfect.
Yeah. Well, now you're giving me another one to consider off of what I'm smoking here.
So
but this one's gonna add this. This one's gonna add that sweetness into the cigar, and this stick already has a lot of that natural sweetness from the tobacco in it. So that may actually turn this a bit more sweeter than what I want.
Yeah, I like that one for a spicy Connecticut, like a Connecticut that actually has a little bit of flavor and power to it.
Sure.
But I also, part of the pairing is not just about the perfect flavors together. I also think about pairing on a few different factors, but one of them is just time of day. And so I love that soda first thing in the morning for myself. And I know a lot of people like it in the evening. But I think it's sort of like when you would have coffee normally is a good time to have that flavor.
Sure. Okay. All right. So tonight, my stick of choice, I'm going with the heavy metal from Bunny Droppings. So we've got a medium full body on this one, a bit more on the higher end of medium on there. Do lots of chocolate, dark chocolate, baking chocolate, nice spice, cinnamon kind of really off the retro on that. White pepper off the back of the palate. Leather, front forward leather in the beginning of the palate. And then it's got a bit of kind of tart fruitiness as well that hits the sides. Kind of, I wouldn't say cherry, but similar cherry, a tart berry off of it. So
nice.
That's what I'm going with. So based upon your sodas and your recommendation here would be either the Vinny or the Candlewood.
Yes.
Would be the two on this one. So I think I'm going to go with the Vinny just based on the allspice and the allspice molasses and ginger. I think the ginger is gonna add more of a refreshing on that, and the molasses I believe will bring out that when you hit that final third on this cigar, that dark chocolate like pops, and I have a feeling that molasses will help pop that dark chocolate a bit more.
Sure.
On that. So what's going on there, Manny? Good to see you out there. And of course with the one that you recommended for meaty sticks, of course Chris there throws out there from Dunbarton, the Krakatoa. Yeah, that's probably one of the heaviest, meatiest cigars that I've ever smoked. So yeah, that you're probably right.
Yeah, I think there's a few from Dunbarton that fit that bill.
Okay, so let me. Is this a twist top or a?
No, they're
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, really, that molasses really right off the bat on the nose.
On the nose, you're going to get the molasses. You're going to get that kind of meaty quality. Mm-hmm. When you taste it, is when the allspice really jumps at you and becomes very prominent.
Yeah, and the nose not really picking up a whole lot of ginger off of that, but that's okay. I do, but definitely the molasses and some of that herbiness is off the nostril there. I'm going to take a little sip here. Okay, the ginger definitely hits the palate, and that really, I picked that ginger up like right up the bat, right in the front of my tongue. That ginger hits like nice. The allspice, yes, allspice back of the palate with that allspice. Okay,
and you're gonna find when you get about a quarter of the way into the bottle, you're going to start feeling the heat build on your throat.
Okay. All right.
Which is, you know, is a kind of a nice alcohol replacement if you want to be drinking but you're not.
All right. I got my little cup here.
Cool.
Ooh, I love that smell. Oh, it smells really good. That smells really good. All right. I'm going to get my stick lit up here. I like this. This is perfect. I'm really not a drinker, so you know this is a really nice, and it's always like it's just all the time. It's water, it's tea. You know, there's just not a lot out there for libations for those that don't want to intake in the alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the things that are out there are not really giving you the complexity. And if they are giving you complexity, they're giving you complexity that is not necessarily conducive to cigar smoke.
Yeah. All right. So let's see if I made the right choice here with the first couple of puffs. All right, now I know I did a little bit of sampling at your booth there at PCA, and with what I was smoking, and I drank that one, and it totally was like, whoa, no.
That didn't work.
It did not work at all. That's nice. I do get that more of that vanilliness. That's really nice. It sits very well. The ginger is really refreshing. I like it.
Yeah, I mean the Vinny is going to have layers of flavor that will come at you throughout the experience, right? So part of it is being exposed to air. Part of it is the temperature of the liquid actually shifting, and then just, you know, all these different flavors. You're essentially desensitizing your palate to certain flavors as you go. So, you know, the ginger may be prominent at one point, but your tongue is kind of going to get a little inundated by that, and you might pull out more of the molasses the next time, right? And so every sip on that one, you're going to find something else being more intense for you.
Interesting. The retro on that soda is it's really it's very smooth, and there is there's a component to it that I can't quite put my finger on just yet, but it's nice. Like taking in that with the soda on the retro, it's nice. It's smooth, and it goes very well with the cinnamon retro with this stick.
Yep. So in each of the four flavors, you're going to find kind of a similar, you know, at different levels, but a similar introduction of baking spices, because, you know, baking, again, like a number of these other ingredients that I mentioned, baking spices are just going to go well with cigar smoke in a generic sense. So I am using a base of them in all of them, but you know, they're good together, right? Like when you're baking, say, a pumpkin pie, you're not putting just one particular spice in there, right? Like you have a combination of cinnamon and nutmeg. Maybe you get crazy and you throw in some coriander or something like that, and you know, you make it interesting that way. But these things really go well together. a lot of people will taste Vinny and say Thanksgiving. They'll say curry, like Indian food, because all of these things are built around baking spices, just with slight different variations on them.
Yeah, there's almost like I taste that vanilla on the tongue, but I'm almost feeling like with the drink on that retro, it's smooth. It's got a vanilla smoothness to it that pairs with the cinnamon in the cigar. Like it's there. I taste it. Well, I guess my nose tastes it.
Right.
It's nice, you know. Um, it's got it's really got kind of a buttery component, like a whip, like a creamy whipped butter, vanilla. If I was baking something, I'd whip that butter. I butter in the pan with some vanilla. It's got that kind of essence to it, and then you add the cinnamon from the retro. Yeah, it's very good.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's very good.
it's a fun one. If it's bold and intense and kind of weird, and I think if you're willing to open your mind to it, you can really get a lot out of it. It can be a really fun experience.
Yeah. Plus the color on it, if I put that into a glass and I'm sitting at a lounge, people probably assume it's alcohol anyway. So I mean,
That one has a
it
really
kind of
nice.
serves a dual purpose on there.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was certainly, honestly, it was not my favorite in the beginning of the four, and it took me a while of drinking it pretty regularly to really even come to a complete understanding of what I was trying to do. Like I mean, I made it on a hunch, and over time I've really come to appreciate it. And I think that's one of the cool things about being able to experience new flavors, and why I'm such a nerd about this stuff is because you never know what you're going to like, and the first time you try something, you may not like it. You actually need to sit with things for a while and appreciate them. And so I'm not really a fan of the concept of I don't like this, right? Like it's not like you don't like it. It's just maybe you haven't figured out what its value is yet.
Yeah. So one thing I am noticing here, the leathery component to the cigar on here with that molasses has given that there's like almost like a mole component that's now being created.
Mm-hmm.
The chocolate, the molasses, the sweetness, the spice, everything from the cigar plus with what's the soda on there. So
I'm gonna have to get one of those cigars to try this pairing because you're making me jealous.
Very good. Yeah, I think you got a home run on this.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying that one. That one is the most divisive. The people who love it absolutely love it, but the people who don't love it, I have to push them a little bit to get them to keep going with it.
Well, and I think the big thing on that is for a lot of people, they drink it like it's a soda and not, a sipper. Like you would sit and sip, a bourbon, and
Right.
you'd sit and sip and smoke. People see soda, and then it's, well, I gotta, I drink it like a soda, so I'm just gonna take a big old gulp on it, and I think that's probably why people, I don't like it. Well, take it like it's liquor.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm starting to get the droolies are starting to come in now.
Yeah, it's definitely the strength of the flavor in all four of the flavors, um, is much higher than your mainstream soda, and so I try to indicate that by the name sipping soda. On the next batch of soda, we're going to change up the label a little bit and put non-alcoholic cocktail right on the label to help kind of indicate that, it's not a big gulp. You're not supposed to chug it. You certainly can if you want to. If that works for you, go for it. But in my mind, I'm sitting here with a glass of seltzer right next to me because, I want to drink more. I want more liquid, but I want the flavor to come from this product.
I think I hit the right pairing on this.
That's good because I did not. The candle was not the right one.
I decided to go with a cigar that I know, and so this would probably be a bit harder choice if I'm just going off of a cigar I don't know, and I'm kind of guessing a flavor profile based on the tobacco that's in it. So I'm kind of just I'd be winging it. So this I think I was right with my choice.
Yeah.
But I also think that the Candlewood may work now, but I don't know. I think just strictly based on already, what I know on this stick, like the key to what I'm finding on this right now is that it's the molasses is the key on the soda with this cigar.
Yep.
It's really the binder for everything because the ginger is light, it's refreshing. The vanilla doesn't add a whole lot on the palate, but it adds so much more on the retro. And so, I think that it's the binder for everything on it.
Yeah, it's interesting how the cigar that well can present different flavors once you're combining it with other things.
Like I want to retro the soda as much as I do the cigar.
Yeah,
like
totally.
It's really nice. Holy cow, I am drooling.
That's a compliment, I think.
It is the highest honor I can bestow upon a cigar, and now a drink.
Now a beverage
as well. It is drool bucket worthy.
Nice.
Holy smokes, that was like unexpected. Like I'm just like I'm taken into another world because I really like this cigar a lot. And now I feel like I'm smoking a completely different cigar. The flavor profile's there, but I'm being added in so much more onto this.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things that I feel really strongly about is that I have absolutely no intention here of trying to create something that in some way modifies what the cigar manufacturer, the cigar blender, the cigar creator is trying to do. I think my intention here is that, number one, as a cigar smoker, I need a drink with my cigar no matter what, right? Like I want to be drinking something with my cigar. I need that physically. And why not have some fun with that part of the experience? And so, when you think about a good chef, right? Like a good chef comes to their restaurant and they buy the highest quality meat and they put just a little bit of ingredients here and there and it makes that meat so much better. And that's no insult to the farmer who grew the animal and worked, decades to figure out how to make that meat taste a certain way. It's actually intended to honor, and so that's my intention here, is to honor the cigar and give all of us as enthusiasts, as nerds about stuff, the opportunity to find new enjoyment out of something.
Sure. Anthony, I am smoking the heavy metal from bunny droppings, is what my choice is. And I got to say, the Vinny pairs excellently with the cigar. Like I am really thoroughly enjoying this smoke. A stick that I already thoroughly enjoy as is.
So I'm switching over to the Vinny because I think it'll go a lot better with my Sixto here.
It is. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, this is fantastic on it. I love it. I love that it's non-alcoholic. I feel like I'm I do. I would feel comfortable at a lounge where people are drinking this, and people just going, "Oh, he's just got some sort of libation in this."
Yeah, I mean, I would first, nobody should feel embarrassed if they're not drinking alcohol when others are. I definitely support that, but I think this is one of those things where it's a really respectful option for lounges and shops to offer to clients, right? Like, as much as there should not be a stigma around not drinking, sometimes it is uncomfortable if you're the only one not drinking. So hopefully it's a good option.
Again, and I think that it's a great option. I just think that a shop is definitely going to have to do some education with their customer base on that. That look, this isn't your regular soda. Don't guzzle it, sip it. And I think that people will be able to, if people hit that point of going, this got to sip and it sits. I think that there'll be a higher and thorough enjoyment of just not the soda, but also of their stick. And man, I cannot stop slobbering on myself. Oh, it's a really good soda. It's really good.
Mouth-watering.
Are you constantly kind of like working on new soda ideas out there?
Yeah, I often play with things. I like to constantly smell ingredients. So my lab is right over here. I can show you, just tilt to the side here, but that's kind of my little lab with my ingredients and my little fake chemistry set and such. And so I often go through, at least once a week, I go through every ingredient and smell it, just to remind myself and kind of consistently train my nose. And sometimes that comes to me, but how I mentioned the perfumery connection to this. A lot of times when I'm just wearing a particular fragrance, because I am still a fragrance nerd as well, and so I'm constantly getting samples of weird boutique fragrances, and I love playing with that stuff. I'll be wearing a particular fragrance and smoking a particular cigar, and just that kind of cast-off air smoke that comes off the end of the cigar interacting with whatever fragrance I'm wearing will pop an idea into my head, and I can play with it that way. I get a lot of inspiration from that experience.
So is this gonna evolve into like a a total line. Like you have the soda, you have cologne or perfume, you have essential oils, you got beard oil or beard balm. That's good. Is this what this eventually could be morphing into? A whole product line?
I don't think it would be wearables, but I am thinking about like other consumables, right? Like
Okay.
um, I don't know if you got to meet these guys who make the cigar pairing chocolate. Did you see those
Oh
guys?
yeah, I love Mac and his team over there. Those guys are fantastic.
Yeah, so that I mean, I was just I sat with him for a while and we chatted, and I just think that's the coolest thing, and so I think there's all sorts of opportunity for that, but ultimately, the name Abbina is the Italian word for to match or to pair. So I think my intention with that name is that there could be a lot more in the realm of pairing, right? Bringing things together that already exist. That could be, kind of curated events. That could be food products with cigars. It could be food and beverage products together. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that sort of approach to bringing unexpected things together and making something new from it.
Sure. Sure. Man, this is really good. Now, as I've kind of gotten deeper and my palate has kind of gotten set and adjusted to the soda, the spy do pick the spice has picked up off the soda onto my palate. Now, I'm not picking up back end palate on the spice. It's sitting center right now, uh, and it's really nice because of the chocolate from the cigar, the coffee bean in the cigar, the leatheriness of it. That spice is sitting perfect, like right. It's just for
You say
me perfect.
when you're saying spice, are you talking about the heat or the flavor of spice?
The flavor of spice.
Yeah.
I'm not. There is a bit of a heat component, but again, I'm not picking that up back palate. It's sitting center palate.
Yeah. I tend to, I mean, it's just interesting. And obviously we're all made differently. I tend to feel the heat really like, down here in my throat on this one. But yeah,
It's good. I like it.
the spice flavor you can absolutely get in the middle of your mouth. I very much agree with that, or at least have the same experience with that.
Sure. That's really good. Like I like it. I'm waiting on the heat. Like that's been like you've talked about this, so I'm kind of waiting for that heat component.
Yeah.
To hit deep palate, and nothing's hit yet. Everything with this soda is sitting front and center palate is where everything's sitting, and no complaints on my part because it's really made this cigar just it took a banger and upped it. I don't know what's higher than a banger.
Yeah, nice. I think one of the cool things that I think about this product, and maybe this one is kind of the least obvious of the four in the way that this works, but in the ingredients that you're having, a lot of them are ingredients that in perfumery we call diffusive, meaning that they kind of evaporate quickly and go into the air quickly. And then you have other ingredients that are what we would call a fixative, or are kind of a heavier weight of molecule that will linger on your skin in perfumery, linger on your palate in food. And so, I mean, with this one, while you get the flavor impression of molasses at the start, that kind of vanilla molasses and creaminess, toffee, caramel, for me, it sticks around a little bit, and I think gives you the opportunity to play with the cigar. The ginger and the allspice I taste immediately, but they don't stick around as much for me.
No. The ginger's almost for me an afterthought because it's very light
Yeah.
on it. It's one of those that for me, I would like to have that ginger more at the end to act as a refresher
Yep.
in for the next smoke. But it comes in early and it leaves just as fast as it came in.
Yep.
Not complaining. It's real. Again, it's good, but the molasses is the key to this whole drink.
Yep.
That I've figured out from really the start. Is that it's that binder, it's good. The creaminess is nice, but the retro is even better. The retro of the soda is even better, especially when you go in immediately after and you retro on the cigar because it's just chef's kiss.
Yep.
Perfect. Just that vanilla and cinnamon. Those are just two combinations that work no matter what.
Totally. Absolutely. This one, needs, it doesn't need, but I think it serves well to a cigar that has a very bold flavor profile, right? Like a not just bold in strength, but, strong flavors in the cigar that can actually stand up to this and really meld with it. But
I think so. I agree. And the fact that, the transitions within this cigar with the chocolate, with the cocoa powder to more of a milk chocolate to a dark chocolate, it's a nice progression, and this really works well with that progression within the cigar.
Yeah, I have found that sometimes when you have a cigar that is very light, very mild in flavor, is frankly just boring. That I like to actually have this flavor with it as well because then it gives me something to hang on to.
I could totally see this with a very mild cigar where it's really going to up that intake, especially I think it's going to up that kind of that spice, that pepper on a very mild cigar. It's going to really, I think it's going to give you that little bit of a kick that the cigar is
Exactly.
a really light cigar is missing.
Yes, that's what it does for me. A cigar that I really like to retrohale my cigar pretty frequently, and I like a little bit of a burn when that happens. And the cigar that doesn't have the burn, this really helps to give it something that kicks me a little bit and makes it more interesting.
Man, this is a good home run, man. This is really good. I think your amateur chemistry background is right perfect, and you've got a good palate, just not mouth palate, but nose palate.
Well, I mean,
as well.
Yeah, and that's what I think is really critical, right? Like, so, I talk about it on the front of the flyer here, but the difference between taste and flavor, right? So flavor is just smell. Flavor is what we call retronasal olfaction, and smell it sort of has infinite possibilities. We have the ability to detect an infinite number of smells, either through the front of our nose or through the back. And taste, what's on our tongue, we can feel things, but the taste is very simplistic. It's only sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. It's very basic. And so, you close your nose, don't allow yourself to retrohale in any way at all, and drink this soda. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be creamy. It's going to be a little bit, you're going to have a mouthfeel to it. And so you get some sensation from that. But without your nose, you got nothing.
Oh, yeah. No, and I get some people don't like the retro, and that's fine. But I think you're also missing out on some of the essentials of what a great cigar provides you on that. And I know a lot of people don't retro their drink, but again, it's adding an essentialness to already something that's essential, in
But
my opinion.
I think the thing is though that like most people are actually retrohaling their drink. They just aren't thinking about it, right? Like because you wouldn't be able to taste the difference between Coke and Pepsi if you weren't actually retrohaling your drink. There would be no difference in flavor if you weren't actually detecting the flavor of it, right? So
I could.
Maybe based on carbonation levels and thickness and that sort of thing, right?
Yes, I could. You can, I can see the difference.
But that where Pepsi is lime forward and Coke is kind of vanilla caramel forward, those are nuances, and they're not even very nuanced, but they're nuances that you would not be able to detect without your nose. If you had no sense of smell,
yeah,
it'd just be a sweet drink.
I don't know, man. I'm digging this. Like this is like, I feel like I've been missing out on something for a long time. And as somebody who's been smoking for 25 years,
yeah,
I feel like I've been missing out. I've drank soda while I've smoked, and it's been fine. And I tend to go with stuff that's a bit more on the creamier side when my choice, like a cream soda.
sure.
Dr Pepper always just seems to pair well with almost anything. It doesn't matter the cigar. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
It's
good.
got to be that. It's got to be that caramel and that fruitiness within the Dr Pepper. It just really kind of it meshes so well with so much different stuff out there. It's good, but cream soda is another one. It's like, if you're going with something that's really heavy and full bodied, it's light and it really tames down the flavors in a really heavy cigar that you're able to pick up more flavors that have been missing this, where I'm like, man, I really am picking up this, and that wasn't really a flavor that was in it when I've smoked it before,
right.
And with a lighter cigar, cream soda, it adds that little bit of kick to it, where the natural sweetness I think comes out a bit more in the smoke.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree with all of that. No question.
Yeah, the science of sense and smell is quite interesting. Yeah, and I think Charlie here has kind of mastered that down with the science there, being an amateur chemist out there.
There's way more to master, and I would not consider myself a master by any stretch, but I've played with it enough and I've thought about it enough. I have the opportunity to do it, right, and I think anybody has has the ability to do this sort of thing if you're going to put your mind to it and take the time with it. So I'm just fascinated by this stuff, and to speak to Jimmy's point here, I mentioned this earlier in some ways, I think, but what I'm trying to do with each of these 4 flavors, you're going to have a particular scent on the front. You're going to get hit with your taste, which would be probably sweet and a little bit of sour, right? Because we use a little bit of acid, citric acid in most of them, and then Royale has a little bit of lactic acid, which gives you a sour impact on your tongue. And then we use a little bit of thickening agent called xanthan gum to make it kind of smoother on your tongue. So you get that textural sensation on your tongue. And then when you breathe out through your nose, you get that third impression, that third sensory impact. And it's distinct from the front of your nose. And I just think that's the coolest thing, how our body is giving us the opportunity to be really fascinated by this stuff, to be able to smell something on the front that's different from the way that we breathe out through the back of our nose. It blows my mind. It's so exciting to find that stuff. And you can't really figure that out without experimentation, right? Like you can't figure out how something is going to impact how an ingredient is going to impact a retrohale on a soda without actually putting it in the soda and trying it. Because if you're just smelling it, you don't know.
Yeah. And of course, nice comment here from Dr. Caffey there. Charlie is a great man with an even better product.
Oh, Likewise.
Yeah. Boy, we got some celebrities in the chat tonight. Boston Jimmy and Dr. Kathy. Boy,
I appreciate it.
I must starting the week off on the right foot here, getting some celebrities coming in. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I think that this is like I'm through my mind as I'm smoking this cigar and I'm drinking this. I'm like my mind's going uh, is going off rails a bit, thinking of other cigars that I could try with that would go really well with this soda. Like I'm like, oh, that would go really good, and that would go really good because I think the key to this one is the 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 chocolatiness of a cigar and the uh, leatheriness of the cigar. This this soda really it pops all of that together. It does give that does take that leatheriness to a meteor level. It does really add something to the chocolate where like I said before, starting off where this was more it was more of a cocoa powdery chocolate and now it's now I'm into this melt chocolatiness of the cigar and everything about this was again the molasses is the binder to all of this whole to the whole soda here because it's just brought out so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that you have another one of those cigars so that you can try it with the candlewood because I'm really anxious to hear how
Oh,
how it will pair with the candlewood versus this one and what.
yes, I will smoke I will smoke it with the candlewood, because I do think that it would work. And that one's more because of the sweet, the fruitier content side of the candlewood. I think on that, so it's going to add another layer or dynamic to it. My only concern I have on that is where I already have that sweetness and that tart berryness in the cigar itself that it doesn't drown that out and
Yep.
it expands it.
I mean, you're
That's
talking
my
about
only concern.
you're talking about that cigar having a whole plethora of flavor notes, right? And so, like, it's always hard to pick up. It's always hard to pick a pairing based on paper, right? Like based on what you're reading or what you're saying or even thinking about are the notes, right? So without me having it, it's hard to say what I would think. But I hear chocolate when you talk about chocolate and coffee. To me, the the candlewood and its cherry qualities, are chocolate covered cherries are the best, right?
No,
So
of course, and
so it,
adding that cherry to coffee, yes, all of that is where I think that soda would pop and
yeah,
really really help.
yeah. So these
So
sort of real world, pairings that we know already are exceptionally good. Meat with jerk seasoning, chocolate and coffee with cherry. Um, uh, these things already make sense, and we don't need to reinvent the wheel. So I'm trying to provide, a beverage product here that's gonna replicate those kind of pairing notes in real life. Even though when we're talking about flavor notes in cigars, we're talking about nuances of tobacco flavor ultimately. But once you get familiar enough, you can find those nuances of tobacco again by retrohaling, and yeah, figure out that stuff. So
So
a lot of
I'm gonna do a little experiment here because I know the scent of the soda on the nose, and I know the aromatics on the cigar when I blow out the smoke. I'm gonna blow some smoke into my drink here and smell and see if it brings how it brings it out because this has a very nice toffiness to the aromatics.
mhm.
So okay. So the it took so my takeoff on that is the molasses kind of overpowered the toffiness of the smoke itself a little bit
Mhm.
on it, but the vanilla but the vanilla it added more of a smoky component to the vanilla on the spring. Very nice. I mean, that's nice. I mean, I could have that as an air freshener. I take it as an air freshener.
I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Man, that's a really good soda. it does have. We talked earlier about that. You know, like cream soda. It does have that cream soda kind of essence to the drink. Like, you know, the difference is it doesn't have that kind of spice punch that cream soda has to it, but the essence is there, and I can really see now. I see why this soda really, you know, I can really see it working on multiple layers with different types of cigars. You know, mild, medium cigars, all the way up to a more fuller bodied smoke. I can really see why it's a versatile soda.
Yeah, I mean, cream soda at its most base level is vanilla, right? Like that. So if you were to just take vanilla and put it into a carbonated sugar water, that is cream soda. That is it, right? So obviously, when a soda company is trying to make something that tastes good, they're adding in more stuff. And I think the most successful of them, in my opinion, and the type of cream soda that I prefer is one that actually has some fruity elements. And so, you know, there's a lot, you know, there's kind of these like red cream sodas that,
Yes.
you know, I don't know if that's power of suggestion and color more than it is flavor, but, you know, you get this kind of fruity quality that ends up tasting really good to me. But, you know, I think you're picking up on the point where ultimately vanilla is going to combine well with tobacco smoke. You know, all of these, there are these baseline things that are just going to go well with tobacco smoke no matter what. And so in all four of them, you're going to find a base of vanilla. You're going to find a base of those baking spices because that's what works.
That is my favorite beard oil scent is vanilla tobacco.
Vanilla
Like
tobacco.
that is like one of my ultimate favorite scents, you know, that I wear. You know, it's just like it just goes so perfect. The tobacco sweetness with that the vanilla just it's great. And
Yeah,
guys,
totally.
you know, it gets the ladies coming up a little bit more, you know. They dig on that too just a little bit.
You know, if that works, then go for it, man. I think the one of the cool things that I've found in the whole perfumery side of things is that tobacco is actually as a fragrance is kind of a imaginary thing, right? And because ultimately it's vanilla with a whole bunch of other spices. You could add wood, you can add whatever, but if you just take tobacco absolute, like the scent product that is made from tobacco, it's not really very unique. It doesn't smell like your cigar smells. And actually most of it, when you buy a tobacco absolute for the purpose of perfumery, can have nicotine in it still. So you can barely use any of it in a fragrance product because it's actually physically potentially dangerous to have more of it because it absorbs through your skin, and that's, you know, bad. So you know, when you know, you go to the mall and you're shopping for your perfumes or your fragrances, and you pick out something that says tobacco on the label, it doesn't actually have any tobacco. I mean, your natural beard oil may very well, but the vast majority of mainstream fragrances don't actually have any tobacco, and they're just, you know, someone's perception of what that should be like, and you know, they're using all of these aroma chemicals to build out a fragrance profile of what they think tobacco is. So, you know, I think these are all these funny things that are interesting where, and I think it brings up another important point to talk about. So on the front of my label, you see that I say natural and artificial flavors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is really important to talk about because a lot of people are interested in, maybe not so much in the cigar community, but a lot of people are interested in food products and beauty products that are all natural. And I think that's really limiting from an artistic perspective, because you aren't able to actually create the very specific vision that you have only from natural materials. And also, in some cases, natural materials are really limiting and wasteful and not sustainable in a lot of ways. They're more dangerous at times because a lot of times you're talking about allergens, right? And natural materials are more likely to be an allergen than a synthetic material. So, in the case of vanilla, for example, I'm using a product, a synthetic vanilla called vanillin, and it's just basically like the most straight and narrow, boring kind of vanilla thing. And then you add in a bunch of other stuff to build it out and make it more complex and interesting. And unless you want to pay $30 a bottle for this soda, you don't want me using natural vanilla, right? Like, because it's completely wasteful and expensive and unreasonable and unsustainable. But vanillin can be extracted from a million different natural products, and it can be synthetically created very inexpensively. You can still have very high quality, but you can get a really intense, wonderful vanilla-like flavor and smell from these synthetic products in a much more reasonable approach. So I put that on the front of the label. I have a whole blog post on my website about a discussion about the use of synthetic and artificial flavorings, because there are so many advantages to them. And let's also be clear that artificial and synthetic does not necessarily mean cheap or low quality. They're actually some are incredibly expensive. Some are all of the ones that I'm using are very high quality, selected, very intentionally. But one of the analogies I like to use is, say you want an orange flavor in something, you're not just going to use orange essential oil, because the orange essential oil is going to give you facets of leaves and facets of wood and facets of roots and facets of orange rind, right? And what I may want is a very specific idea of a juicy, fleshy orange. And you can't do that from orange essential oil. You have to add in all of these other things. The only way that you can do it is by breaking out what those molecules are that make up the orange essential oil, and then using pieces of them to build it back together. If you're using just the orange essential oil, then you end up having to add a bunch of other stuff that you don't necessarily want or need to cover up those flavors. So there's, the chemistry aspect of it is actually really important. And I think there's a lot of value in understanding it from the flavor that you want to create and from the sort of artistic vision that you're trying to pursue.
I just hit the dark chocolate section of this cigar. Oh, this is just ramp this cigar up by 10.
Nice.
It's so good. Oh my goodness, is it so good.
I'm glad you
I
picked
am picking that heat has, I get what you're saying with the heat in the bottom palate.
Yeah, it just hit me a little bit.
It's starting to hit, and it's hitting with it's matched by the pepper in the cigar,
mm-hmm.
and it's that heat is kind of matched with it, and it's really nice. It's added almost that heat and added almost a bit of a sweetness to the pepper on the very back of the palate.
Yeah, totally.
It's really nice. Oof. Dang. I've been missing out on a lot. I'm really glad I met you at PCA, man.
Yeah, me too.
Your assistant you had with you tracking me down in the lobby there, and
yes.
You got to stop by. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, I'll stop by.
Shout out to Jenny. Jenny is the best.
Yeah, so she tracked me down. I was hanging out in the lobby, and she's just like, you got to come and see him. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the cool thing about it is I think, you getting to try it with a cigar that very well already. You know all the nuances, and really being able to see the way that it can, just have fun with it and make it a whole new experience for you.
Yeah, that's good. Is that your first PCA?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think I've seen you there in the past.
Yeah, no, I've only been selling the product for a little over a year. Well, I guess about a year and a half now.
Okay.
So I wasn't quite prepared for PCA last year. I just couldn't get my act together in time. It's an undertaking to go to that show.
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking to go.
Right. You can see even with my very small booth compared to some of the booths there. But even that was a bit of an undertaking. So, but I will not ever miss it again. It was such an awesome experience, and honestly, like I think you can tell that. And even as I mentioned before, this is a product that I made, for myself, and then realized that maybe somebody else would actually enjoy it too, and so that's why I decided to make it into a business, if you will. But ultimately, I'm a fan. I'm an enthusiast. I'm a cigar nerd. I love this stuff. I love the experience of it, and it makes me really happy and excited when other people get to experience it and show enthusiasm for it.
Yeah, oh, I agree. So if you're interested in wanting to grab yourself one of these delicious, delicious sodas, you can head on over to the website, which I have down in the description everywhere. So you can just click on it, take you over there. There's also a store locator on there. There's also more detailed write up on everything on there as well. So if you wanted to learn a bit more about each of the sodas there, it goes into much detail. Like you said, there's also a section there that talks about some of the synthetics that he uses in there and why he uses them. So, website's fantastic, by the way. Very detailed. So, if you're looking for just a little bit of information, you're going to leave with a lot of information.
Yep, I am a nerd. I enjoy. I can talk about this stuff for hours, right? But I would also say, I love the opportunity to sample the soda for people in person. And so I haven't gotten to a point where I put up events on the website, but keep an eye out on our social media. I'm doing events virtually every week somewhere, mostly in the Northeast because that's where I'm located. But I make it out to other places every now and then, and so I love meeting people and being able to share it in person.
That's awesome, man. This has been awesome. I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'll hand it over to you. Anything you'd like to promote or end with on there? I'll hand it to you to close that out.
Yeah, no, just visit the website, sign up for the email and the text, follow us on social media. I still am shipping every order myself right out of our warehouse. I say out of my warehouse in Albany, New York, and usually get that stuff out to you pretty quick. So yeah, hope everybody gets a chance to try it, and really appreciate listening and sharing this with me.
That's awesome. And next week, next Monday night, Zach Van Ginkel from HDA Cigars will be my guest. So hope y'all come back and tune in for that one. And hope y'all enjoyed Zach. A little bit of different show, kind of mixing it up a little bit here to kind of bring something new out that I noticed that I think is much missed in the community out there. And I'm glad to see that somebody like Charlie's out there doing this work. So I appreciate it, man. And thank you so much for coming on. And I'm really looking forward to trying the rest of these and seeing if I can make the pairing work.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear how it goes.
Excellent. Guys, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Chat, thank you again. You guys rocked it as usual. And we will be back next Monday night. So take care. Be safe out there. Don't do anything Charlie and I wouldn't do because we're sweet and innocent boys. And we will see y'all next week.